Title: The Weight of the Shadows. I remember the day it all changed. The air was thick with laughter and disbelief as I stood in our cramped living room, shaking, clutching a tattered notebook filled with my findings on subterranean curses, the twisted anomalies hidden beneath our very feet. My father, his voice dripping with contempt, slammed his hand on the coffee table and shouted, "You're losing it! You'll disgrace this family with your ridiculous obsessions." My mother's eyes darted between him and me, her silence louder than any insult. That day, I felt the walls closing in, suffocating me with their ridicule. I left home, determined to prove them wrong, even if it drove me into the depths of madness. I dove into my work as an urban sanitation investigator, spending years mapping the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the city, searching for truths the world pretended weren't there. I unearthed bones, artifacts, remnants of lives that had been swallowed by the earth, and each discovery whispered a curse that haunted the recesses of my mind. As the years passed, I became obsessed, consumed by the echoes of those I sought to understand, even as the world around me dismissed my work as lunacy. But in that madness, I found clarity. I became a renowned expert in subterranean curse mapping, recognized not as a disgrace, but as the bearer of warnings. The shadows of my discoveries clung to me like a second skin. I learned to navigate the dark corridors of the human psyche, revealing hidden horrors that begged to be acknowledged. Now I stood before the door of my childhood home, heart pounding with a mix of dread and exhilaration. I could feel the weight of the shadows pressing down on me, as if they were waiting to spill forth. A year had passed since I last spoke to them, and now I was returning. Their disbelief had lingered in my mind like an echo, but I was no longer the broken child they remembered. I had become something else entirely. As I stepped inside, the familiar scent of old wood and faded memories wrapped around me, but the warmth I once felt was gone. My family sat in the living room, faces lined with concern and disbelief. My father's expression darkened as I entered, while my mother's gaze flickered with a mixture of fear and regret. My brother, the only one who had believed in my passion, looked at me with admiration, but even he hesitated, as if dreading what I had brought back with me. "Look what the cat dragged in," my father scoffed, his words laced with derision. "You think you can just waltz back in here after everything?" I held my breath, my heart racing, and replied, "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to warn you." I opened my notebook, pages filled with diagrams and maps of the underground tunnels, and began to recount the horrors I had encountered. I spoke of the disappearances, the patterns I had uncovered, the skeletal remains that led to a dark legend woven into our city's fabric. The air became thick with tension. They listened, eyes wide with disbelief, no longer mocking, but slowly turning to unease. My father's laughter faltered, replaced by an incredulous stare. "You really believe this nonsense?" he said, his voice trembling. But just as I was about to respond, a deep rumble reverberated through the house. It felt like the earth itself was answering, an ancient voice awakening from slumber. The lights flickered, and shadows danced across the walls, warping into grotesque shapes that seemed to reach for us. "Dad," I whispered, but the words caught in,